Hi everyone, welcome to Viewers Mistakes number 15. This first clip has been sent in by Charles from Dashcam Hull, and we might have to go lower than an F.
Shit. Yeah, alright, I get it.
Charles also runs an interior cam, which is going to help us with this analysis. Let's have a look at the clip first.
Shit. Yeah, alright.
So now the two pieces of footage are put together, we're going to be able to easily work out why things happened. I'd like to pause the clip at this point to point out a couple of things. The van that Charles missed is just about visible to the left hand side of the screen, but Charles's front dash cam is also positioned to the left hand side of the mirror, as we can see here, so there's no way Charles could have spotted this van at this point. And we'll now be watching where Charles looks. It's pretty unlucky that he actually misses this van, but it also shows how easily it can happen. Charles looks at the junction in front, and then to the right of the A-pillar, probably watching the cyclists. But the next look is crucial. He'll look ahead, he won't see the van, and then turns to the right just before the van appears. And this is why it was missed. And while we've got these two pieces of footage still next to each other, I'd like to point out the difference in view of the camera angles. The inside view is much more realistic, and it shows that Charles was too close to the bus. If he had have been further away, this might not have happened.
Shit. Yeah, alright, I get it.
This incident actually reminded me quite a bit of my own recent mistake where I missed the pedestrian on the zebra crossing. Unfortunate timings of when you look can cause these things to happen.
Shit.
Charles was slow enough to sort his problem, and he never actually entered the travelling area of this white van. So he gets a grade C. Just next time, hold back a little further.
Yeah, alright, I get it.
And perhaps give way to the cyclists also.
The Audi RS3 is a sought after performance car, and they often get driven quite hard, and this one, in this car vertical report, has been driven quite hard into the back of something. The pictures on first inspection seem to show a very heavy front end hit. However, I think it's a little more cosmetic. I don't think there's anything structural wrong with this car, and it shows also later on in the report that it wasn't actually written off. So this shows that damage like this, of this nature, could very well be hidden from you if you don't get it checked out properly. That's the whole idea of a car vertical check before you purchase. If we have a quick look at the timeline, we can see that the car was damaged a couple of years after it was registered. No problems there. It shows a successful MOT after this, so we know it's been back on the road. But look how many change of ownerships there have been since this car has been repaired. All these changes of ownership happened within a very short space in time, and this rings alarm bells for me. I think there's possibly something seriously wrong with this car that possibly hasn't been fixed when it was repaired. Now, this is also why it's really important to get your car checked out before you make that purchase. The easiest way to do it: Car Vertical website, put in the registration or VIN number, and you'll get a report sent to you really quickly. And don't forget, if you use the code Ashley, you can save yourself 20%. Thanks, Car Vertical.
Don't forget, all my viewers send these clips in knowing that they weren't at the best. This takes a fair bit of courage. I think you've already spotted where the problem lies in this clip. As normal, we'll watch it first. What's your initial thoughts on that one? In the first part of the footage, my viewer does show some poor lane discipline. They're not overtaking anyone, yet they decide to use lane 2. With the speed that the driver of the black BMW approaches at, it's obvious he's an absolute plum. But for some reason, my viewer now speeds up to block them. Just let them go and get on with the day. There's a huge big space behind, and there's no reason here to be positive and try and command your road space. The road's narrowing, and my viewer shuts down all their acceleration room, and instead they decide to go across the solid line hatch markings. This is the classic testosterone battle. Whoever gets in front has got the biggest phallus. Both drivers obviously went across the hatch markings, and it didn't get any of them to their destination any sooner. Quite immature and pathetic road use, but it's easy to get drawn into situations like this. But I'd like to remind everyone how silly it actually looks when I feature it on one of my videos. Both of these drivers get a D. And before we wrap up this clip, I'd just like to show you where both of these drivers went. That's correct. Off at the next exit. Makes it even worse, doesn't it? Simple decision here. My viewer gets an F. If I can remember rightly, I'm sure they got reported and lost the job over this. Let that be a lesson to everyone. This is Islington in Liverpool, and if you recognise it, it's been featured in one of my videos. This is where one of my pupils had a crash. And one of my viewers has a collision this time, and it's in virtually the same spot, but it's in a slightly different situation. Multiple lanes join the one-way system, and my viewer battles for a space that's not there to battle for.
She mentioned on the phone that she enjoyed stories about weird, mythical things. After finishing 3 stories, she again clapped her hands, signifying that I should stop.
What are you doing?
I closed the book and I laid it on my lap, whilst my brain struggled a collection of short
It's obviously the white van to my viewer's right that's involved with this collision, and I think the van driver's already picked to fit in behind the taxi. They're braking and effectively staying in the pocket of space to their left, but my viewer closes the space down.
After finishing 3 stories, she again clapped her hands.
Any reasonable driver would have held back in this situation and just left the space, but my viewer doesn't, and for that, they get an E. And although the positioning on the bend would make it difficult, the van does have a split mirror, so they should have seen my viewer, so they get a D. Ironically, I think the insurance would put more blame onto the van driver, which encourages people to drive like this. Some cracking dashcam footage from the same camera that I use. Remember, links are always in the description, and use the code Ashley to save a further 5%. I think this is another clip where the insurance decision doesn't discourage people from acting like this. Liability without doubt is on the white Volkswagen, but come on. Usually in situations like this, even though you're not maybe at fault, your insurance is still likely to go up the following year, which is absolutely fair because you are a higher risk. This is such a common problem that we see on a daily basis. People think that they can exit into their left lane if there's a car on the inside of the roundabout like my viewer is, and this is not the case. It's obvious at this point that the driver of the white Volkswagen is starting to emerge. Just hold back and fit in behind them. Continuing with the overtake at this point, in my opinion, is just as dumb as the driver of the white Volkswagen trying to emerge into this left lane. And all the stupid people at this point will be shouting at the screen saying, "But the camera had priority!" And if you have just thought that, you get an E along with these 2 road users. Both are as bad as each other. The driver of this Volkswagen doesn't look to the right once. Again, I'd just like to remind people that all my viewers send these clips in knowing the part that they played. This takes big balls. Thank you so much for all your support. People learn loads from me analysing these clips. This clip to finish links to the first one we saw with Charles. There's a cyclist coming round the roundabout, and these signs may very well obscure my motorcyclist viewer's view. Do you think when my viewer possibly looked to the right, it could have been unlucky that the cyclist was obscured behind one of these signs? In any case, it's all on my viewer, and they get a C. They were still able to stop comfortably. Keep safe everyone, I'll see you soon.